Good morning. Hi. Welcome, replay viewers. Go ahead and hit like and let me know you're here. What I am doing right now is making sure there's a link that's up, and I am going to go live here. Okay. All right. Well, welcome. Good morning. I am going to talk to you today about how to get back on track when your life totally derails you. And I'm not talking you're derailing yourself. This is real life stuff that happens, and how to get back on track as quick as you can. Now, I'm going to talk about this particularly because this week in the podcast, I talked about designing your perfect morning. Well, your mornings are meant for you and to do what you need to do to get things done that you have goals around, right? But it doesn't always work that way. And I have a few things I want to share in my own life that happened this week that threw me for a loop, and how I'm getting back on track to make sure that I'm reaching my goals. So we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to share with you some different tidbits, some different information about self-sabotage, about self-sabotage versus self-care, foundations that are helpful to lay so that when stuff like this does blow up in your face, you are better able to come back together and get back on track. If you are not familiar with me, my name is Dina Cataldo. I am a coach that helps people design their lives so that they can get the life they deserve. And I talk a lot about in my podcast, Soul Roadmap, different ways that people have created for themselves to stay on track with their goals. And if you go to dinacataldo.com/episode 10, you can hear this week's episode, which is 5 steps to create your perfect morning, design your perfect morning, and it's all about how you can do what you need to do to make yourself successful during your whole day, because really the foundation starts with your morning. All right, so let's talk a little bit about laying the foundation. And when you show up here, I would love it if you give me some hearts, if you would hit like just to let me know that you're here, and go ahead and comment and say hello. I love hearing from you. So, all right, let's get started with the foundation. So episode 10 this week, I talked about laying your foundation for your day. When you are creating your day, when you are designing out your whole life, really, your mornings are the most important step. The reason for that is because it's really going to set the tone for your entire day. And that is going to stack up step by step by step. And I really walk you through each of these steps in the podcast, so I'm not going to regurgitate all of that here, but if you go to dinacataldo.com/episode 10, you're going to get the entire episode as well as a free guide that will take you through the steps, because it's important that you really think through what you want if you're designing your life. If you want to take control of your life rather than feel like things are just happening to you, then it's time to just get in there and do the work. So if you're interested in doing the work, if you want to do that, you can go to dinacataldo.com/episode 10, get the free guide, and listen to the podcast. It's a short podcast this week, so it's good to just get in there and get to work. Now, let's say you have this perfect morning routine already set up. What do you do? So the first thing that you need to do is just set up that foundation, right? So you've got your self-care, you know what you're doing in the morning, you have your rituals that help you get set up for success. Maybe you create a to-do list, something that you do step by step by step. For me personally, I've been using the 90X goal planner, which it's been amazing. So I'm linking to this if you're on Facebook or YouTube, this 90-day goal planner. And it's fabulous. It really helps you work through everything step by step by step, which I love. And it was a little intimidating to me at first because just like it says, it's a 90-day goal planner. So if you have a 5-year plan, you're breaking this down, right? You're breaking down your plan because you're designing your life the way you want it. And the 90X Goal Planner helps you design that life. Now, once you've laid the foundation with self-care, you have an exercise routine, maybe you do yoga, you meditate, something that's really centering you in some way in your life, then once you do that, then you're setting yourself up for success. So when these curveballs start getting thrown at you, when things start happening, you will be better able to get back on track. All right, so what happens when you get off track, and what kind of things can throw you off? Again, we're not talking about things that we do to ourselves. Hi, how's it going, Zach? We're talking about things that just happen, all right? And, I'm a big fan of taking responsibility for our lives, but you know what? We've got to make sure that we're distinguishing between taking responsibility for our personal life, which is setting that foundation. That's our taking responsibility, and distinguishing that from things that just happen. So this week I had a couple things that really threw me off. And so Wednesday morning, I got up just like I always do. It's 4:30 in the morning, and I go to the kitchen. I, get the food ready for my cat and my dog, and Rocco's eating his food, and Frankie, my dog's eating his food. And I'm just, making my tea, getting my lemon water ready, all of that good stuff. And then I noticed that Frankie stopped eating his food. And he never stops eating his food. I mean, he devours his food. This dog doesn't even taste his food. He inhales it. And so when he took a pause and just seemed like he was chewing his food, I was a little concerned. So I looked at him, and then I noticed him suddenly twitch to the side, and I was wondering, God, does he have an itch or something? Like, what's going on? And then I saw him fall over, and he started convulsing. Like, he was seizing, his legs were flying, and all I could think to do was run in and hold him down so he didn't hurt himself. And I had no clue what was going on. It was probably 45 seconds of me freaking out while I'm holding my dog down. I called the emergency vet, and they said, okay, it's just been one. It was a short one. Wait to call, the vet in the morning. And, I was freaked out. And not only was I freaked out, but my poor dog, I mean, it was heartbreaking. It was just heartbreaking. I mean, it's not a clean thing. There's urine everywhere. There's him freaking out. He snapped at my mom because she ended up holding him down for the last few seconds while I was calling the emergency vet. And he just didn't know what was going on. He was completely disoriented, and I had to be there for him. There was no way I could leave that dog, right? So I called in to work and let them know what was going on. And I went to the vet, and I took care of all the things you need to take care of. I spent an ungodly amount of money on my dog that morning, but for me, he's my baby, and I'm going to do everything I can for him. So that was my morning. And not only that, my mom's been going through health issues, and I've been trying to fight with doctors to make sure that I get the appointments that she needs, because they're not very responsive. They don't have any communication between one office and the other. And so I feel that, I'm better equipped than my mom to go through that, because I'm a lawyer, and I can, talk to people and make sure I'm getting the information that I need and getting it as quickly as possible. I mean, there's only so much you can do, right? Like, you're fighting these people who, some of them aren't really very helpful. I'm just gonna be honest about it. Then they could care less. So I was fighting with that in the afternoon. And I took the day off work. I couldn't do anything else except focus on my dog and my mom. And, I watched Frankie like a hawk. He was, shaken up all day. I just watched him, and I had to take him in and out of the house, because at the same time, this new seizure thing, he also had the runs. So my whole day was surrounded around taking care of Frankie and taking care of my mom. And, Thursday rolls around, and I'm, hoping, okay, I'm feeding this dog again, 4:30 in the morning. Please don't happen. And he has another seizure. And I'm like, what do I do? I can't leave him here. I have to watch him. So I stayed with him all day, and I took care of some things for my mom. And then yesterday, which is Friday, I took the morning off because I got a doctor's appointment for my mom. So my whole day was surrounded by taking care of my mom. So, I mean, there's nothing you can do. These things happen, life happens, but how do you get yourself back on track? Well, one of the things you do is you get a coach to help you with this, because I have a coach, and her name's Maria, and she's great. So we're going to go through, when these kind of life things happen, what we can do when we have the foundation laid, what we can do to get back on track. The first thing that I have to do is just have some grace. I have to know that I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing what I can in this moment to the best of my ability. There's nothing else I need to do except take care of this one thing in this moment. So it really comes down to having grace with yourself, knowing that you are doing the best that you can in this moment, and knowing that you're doing that to the best of your ability. And when we're living moment to moment, rather than taking these things as a whole, being overwhelmed by everything, and we're just saying, okay, in this moment, I'm taking care of a seizure. In this moment, I'm taking care of these doctor's appointments. I mean, then when you are just handling one thing at a time, everything's much more doable. There's less anxiety, there's less stress. You're doing everything you can. And just keep telling yourself, I'm doing everything I can in this moment to the best of my ability. And when you've handled those fires, when you've put them out, then you can deal with the rest, right? Then you can think about, okay, what's the next thing that I need to do? The next thing in this moment, because we're dealing with things moment by moment. It's very easy to feel overwhelmed with different fires that are thrown at you. And what I'm talking about right now are very discrete things. On the other side of all of that are more enduring things like death. And, my dad died in December, and that was a very different feeling. That was a feeling of being totally numb and being unable to engage with anything. And when you're there, it's important that you're taking care of yourself. That's why those foundational self-care habits that you've created, the morning ritual, the meditation, the yoga, whatever kind of exercise that you do, is so important, because that is how you process through that grief. That is how you start getting through that numb stage, that inability to act stage. I personally went through everything that I had to do to get back on track when my dad passed, and I created oh, hi, Rocco. How's it going? Yeah, hi. I created a free guide that I will link to below, that talks about step by step what you're thinking and what you're going through, and whether or not it's normal, and how to actually write out what's going through your mind. And I found that was really helpful, was writing out everything that I was going through, so that I could realize how I could move forward. And that's all you can do, is just process that. So if you're on Instagram, you probably can't see Rocco, but he's here. So that is something that is a totally different issue that totally throws you out and throws you for a loop. In both cases, whether it's a discrete thing that's happening in one moment, or whether or not it's an emotion that is long lasting, you are going to be the best judge of when you're ready to move forward. Now we're on to step 2, which is figuring out, you might be able to hear Frankie. That means he's A-okay. I love it when he barks now. I'm like, yes, he's barking. That means he's okay. All right. So the next thing that you're going to want to do, the second thing that you're going to want to do, is you're recognizing whether or not what you're doing is self-care or self-sabotage. And so there's a difference. There's a difference between self-care and self-sabotage, and sometimes it's a little hazy. So let's define self-sabotage. Self-sabotage is an action that you take, a choice that you make that derails you from your goals. That can show up in a lot of different ways. It can show up in procrastination. That's usually how it shows up for me, is procrastination. It can show up in negative self-talk, saying I'm not worthy, I can't do this. It can show up in a lot of different ways depending on who you are. But it's important that you start recognizing like why you aren't taking action on your goals. Is it because you really need that time to heal, to get back in the game? Or is it because you are self-sabotaging? So one example that I have is that in last weekend, I had a moment where I totally procrastinated. Like I had this really huge goal that scared me. And on Sunday, I woke up raring to go to get moving on this goal, and I freaked myself out. I was like, I didn't even know where to start. It was so big, I didn't know where to start. Even though I'd used my 90X planner, I knew like what I needed to do, the next logical step to take in that moment to do what I needed to do. I didn't take that action. And when I don't take that action, it hurts inside and I feel guilty and I feel like I should be doing this, I should be doing that, and none of my shoulds got done. And that's one of the issues, is that, you know, having all these should have dones, it adds up to anxiety. And so I'm going to talk about the should and how we can avoid getting into that shoulda, coulda, woulda phase so that we can move forward. So self-sabotage is an action that we take that puts us back into that comfort zone because we are so scared of what's coming up next that we feel like we need to get comfortable. And that might mean lots of DVDs. Like for me, I love Doctor Who, so it was lots of watching Doctor Who or NCIS Los Angeles, which for some reason I'm totally addicted to right now. So I cannot turn the TV on Sundays on Ion Television because I will just watch that all morning long. Anyway, that's a whole other story. So recognizing self-sabotage versus self-care. So are you really taking a nap because you need to energize, or are you taking a nap because it's comfortable and you're in your safe space? Are you watching something on television because it's informing what you need to do? Are you taking a course online because you're learning something and you really need to learn that thing in that moment in order for you to take the next step to reach your goals? Or are you over preparing because you're scared to take action in the future? Hi, Media Maven, how are you doing? So thanks for joining us. So what is it that you're doing? How are you using that time? Are you self-sabotaging with this behavior, or are you really truly taking care of yourself? Because you do need to have that self-care time. There's no doubt about it. But when you are exercising so much that it seems to be a way to avoid doing what you need to do to make your goals, that's a problem. If you are napping not to energize but to procrastinate on moving forward on your goals, that's a problem. So recognizing these things is one of the steps to make sure that you're moving forward on your goals and not just letting life pass you by. Because this is about designing the life you deserve. This is about designing a life that you have planned, not letting life come at you and not having a way to get back in the groove, not having a way to figure out what your groove is and going forward, right? So let's talk about what shoulds can do to our life, right? Like you've heard that phrase, let's not should all over ourselves. And it's so easy to do. Personally, I have really high expectations of myself. I mean, I recognized that years ago that I have these incredibly high expectations for myself. it's very easy for me to go into that, oh, I should have done this today. I should have done that extra writing thing today. I should have done that extra whatever task it is I needed to do today. What I am learning is to recognize that and then taking a moment, stepping back and having some gratitude. And I'm not kidding, like, you know, you hear gratitude being thrown around all the time. You hear gratitude, you know, journaling, gratitude practices, all of this. But no joke, when you step back and you say thank you, it's as if your brain has no choice but to relax. So when you are, yeah, right? So yeah, Media Maven saying, I used to tell myself I should have done better in so many ways, but all the things I didn't do right helped me find out who I wasn't first. Ooh, that's good. I like that. So when you are thinking about all those things you should have done, just take a step back. For me, I feel as if I had such high expectations of myself, or have such high expectations for myself, because of how I was brought up. I grew up in a really hardworking family, and I always wanted to do really well. So I step back and I say, thank you, Mom and Dad. Thank you for planting the seed to make me feel like I can improve myself. And if you reframe that should, that feeling that you should, that feeling that's so anxious, then it changes everything. When you reframe what's going on in your mind, it's going to change how you feel, because our feelings are a direct reflection of what our mind is thinking. So once we get a handle on our brain and a handle on what we're thinking, we can then change physically what is happening in our body. If you're feeling that anxiety, then a great way to move forward is to say, okay, what is causing this anxiety? All right, first question, okay, what is causing this anxiety? The next question, okay, now that I know what is causing this anxiety, what can I do? And the thing that you do is you reframe what you're thinking, and you have some gratitude for how you got there. Thanks, Mom and Dad, for showing me that there is a way for me to move forward and grow. And that's it. Let it go. And then you also add in that practice of, I'm doing the best I can in this very moment to do what I need to do to move forward with my goals. There you go, right? So taking these actions are going to help you move forward with your goals, period. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the podcast. All right, so this week it was all about your mornings and creating that perfect morning for you, designing the perfect morning for you. And it's always going to be different. And if you're just showing up, go ahead and say hello, say hi, give me some hearts. I'd love to hear from you. So when you are creating that morning, it's important to keep the end in mind. So what do you want to accomplish? Why are you creating? Why are you designing this brand new morning for yourself? What do you want to accomplish? What are your goals? And so if you go to dinacataldo.com/episode 10, you are going to be walked step by step on how to create these goals. And I've also created the morning roadmap for you, so that way you can actually print something out, you can write out your goals, you can write down each of these 5 steps to designing the morning that you need to be successful in your day. Because we all know that having that great morning set up is going to set up our tone for our entire day. And I've also included a morning tracker, so that way you can keep track of what's working in your morning and what's not, because you're not going to get your morning right the first time. Promise you that. You're going to say, oh, this is pretty good. And then you're going to want to experiment. You're going to say, you know, this doesn't work for me. This doesn't fit my vibe. I need a morning that gives me more time. I need a morning that gives me less time, because I'm more of a night person and I want to have more time at night. I need a morning where I feel relaxed going into it. I mean, those are all considerations that you're going to want to make when you're designing the morning that you need. So dinacataldo.com/episode 10, so that you can get your hands on the roadmap as well as listen to the 5 steps to creating your perfect morning. All right, so now what do you do? once you've gone there and you've downloaded that morning roadmap, I would love to hear from you. So DM me, message me if you're on Facebook. Tell me what is going on in your life. Why do you want to create the morning that you deserve? Because you deserve a better life, period. We deserve more than just doing what we're told until we hit our 20s and think, huh, okay, I've done everything I've been told, and now I'm here. No, there is more to life than just saying, oh, I'm here. No, we are here to grow. We are here to become the person we are meant to be. That's the whole reason I do this, is because I don't want someone to waste another day thinking about, wow, where do I go from here? Is this it? No, this isn't it. There's more to do. There's more to grow on, right? So if you are interested in learning about having someone to walk you step by step, thank you, Media Maven. I appreciate that. So if you want to have someone to walk you step by step through growing, I'm here for you. You can get free resources at dinacataldo.com under Work With Me, or you can work with me personally. So DM me or message me and let me know if you want to work with me, learn more about how to work with me. I offer 30-minute discovery calls just to let you know whether or not we vibe and see if we can move forward together. So I hope to hear from you, and you have a wonderful, wonderful day. All right, talk to you soon. Bye for now.